Thank you very much, Teresa. And first of all, I would like to thank you for your introductory remarks. And through you, I would like to thank the UNIDIR team, the whole UNIDIR team, for putting together these events. I am thinking in particular of Kirsten Vignard and Tai Takahashi, who have done an extraordinary work in preparing this seminar. This event illustrates once more the very significant role UNIDIR plays in the field of disarmament. In particular, when it comes to stimulate debates and establish a link between academics and practitioners. In this vein, I am glad to see the variety of backgrounds of our interveners today. Of course, I would like to thank all of them for their participation and contribution. Today's seminar deals with an idea that is of great interest to my country. That is a peer review mechanism for the BTWC. As you all remember, France introduced a paper on this concept during the last review conference. And here I would like to pay a special tribute to Mr. Richard Lennon, whom we are honored to have on podium, for putting forward this idea in an article published in Disarmament Forum. This paper largely inspired our own proposal. The working paper we introduced at the review conference received support from a large number of countries from all regions. Other delegations raised some questions. This is in no way surprising, given the innovative nature of such a concept. The idea of a peer review mechanism is new to the BTWC community, but in fact, it is new to the arms control community as a whole. Against this background, we found it useful to encourage discussions on this proposal. This is the very purpose of this seminar, and in order to stimulate the discussion, a well-researched study, as the one drafted by Dr. Revel, is certainly a very good place to start. I shall thank him for the excellent work he has done and his great contribution to our debates. We hope our discussions and this seminar will be helpful in order to get a better understanding of what a peer review mechanism could look like, and also to make clear what a peer review mechanism is not. The last review conference in late 2011 defined a roadmap to be followed by state parties until 2016. Among other important things, state parties have been mandated to examine, I quote, ways and means to enhance national implementation, sharing best practices and experiences, including the voluntary exchange of information among state parties on their national implementation, enforcement of national legislation, strengthening of national institutions, and coordination among national law enforcement institutions. In this context, as it is made clear in Dr. Revel's study, the peer review mechanism is precisely one of the ways and means that we have to study during the intersessional process. Finally, I would like to briefly remind some of the key principles on which, in our view, a peer review mechanism could rely. First, the mechanism would be respectful of state sovereignty. It would function on a voluntary basis. National specificities and national responsibility in implementing the Convention would not be challenged. The scope of the review could even be defined on a case-by-case basis according to the preferences of the visited country. Second, let me remind the overall objective of the mechanism. That is, to build confidence in compliance and strengthen the implementation of the Convention. It would offer state parties an opportunity to demonstrate how they implement their obligations. The assessment could, for instance, lead to the identification of the country's degree of preparedness with regard of the biological risk, its related needs in terms of cooperation and assistance, and the formulation of recommendations. Third, I shall underline that such an approach would be complementary to other tools. I am thinking of the confidence-building measures. While the confidence-building measures are by nature unilateral, the review would enable the establishment of a dialogue between the visited country and its peers. But I am also thinking of other innovative ideas, like the compliance assessment report proposed by Switzerland and Canada. We are delighted that Canada can introduce this concept during this seminar. I am not going to get into more details as at this stage. I just wanted to underline the key aspects and the key advantages of a peer review mechanism. First, because I want to leave enough time to our panelists, but also to make clear that at this early stage of our collective reflection, nothing is set in stone. It will be the role of the states to determine what they want to do with this idea. Again, we hope this seminar will be helpful in that regard. To conclude, let me once more thank UNIDIR, and I shall now give the floor to our panelists.